welcome to episode 5 of the Tree of Geek, the dark side of the tree. I'm your host Josh, joined tonight with H-Train.
Whoop whoop.
And tonight we're going to be looking into the darker side of fandom, a little more of the magical aspect mixed with the spooky, because this will be airing exactly 1 week before the darkest day of the year.
Is it technically the darkest day of the year?
Well, I think that would be the equinox, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Halloween, in case you're confused right now. Halloween is 1 week from the air date of this episode. H-Train, what are we diving into today?
We're diving into Magic. Not the card game, though. Do you play Magic, the card game?
I used to. I did get out of it when, well, first off, it costs a lot of money to maintain and keep up with, new series coming out. And I got out of it because they just kept adding more and more to it, and it was just getting too convoluted for me, and I just kind of bailed. And everybody that I played with the exception of our mutual friend John, moved away or sold their cards or quit playing. Mine are in the backpack in my attic.
I think our buddy plays it on his phone. I've caught him on my couch playing it on his phone.
Yes, he does.
And now that I think about it, Magic would have been a great thing to add to this episode, but I don't play it. You don't play it anymore. But be that as it may, we're here to talk about the spooky stuff. We're here to talk about kind of the darker stuff, as you said before, the supernatural side of geekdom. We're talking like Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange and Harry Potter and the magic and Lord of the Rings and things of that nature.
Yeah, not even just the spooky side, but the more mystical, unexplained side that a lot of a lot of franchises just kind of take for granted and just throw it in there.
Right. And we're going to also talk about, there's cosplay out there as well, which is more of a Halloween-y type thing.
So I do apologize in advance. This is not another list-based episode like you may have gotten used to from us. It's definitely going to be more of a conversation. We don't know each other's views on a lot of what we're going to talk about, so...
If you hear a lot of, cartoon scuffling, well, just pretend it's like...
I'm being dragged out of your house.
It's like the big thing of dust and the cat and the dog are scrapping, and I'm like, wait, what did you say? How dare you? There'll be none of that. We're good-spirited people here, so it'll be fun. But basically, Josh and I are going to ping-pong some things back and forth, some talking points. Just kind of pick our brain about what we think about some things. And
as always, we encourage you, if there's something that we miss or something you think we should have talked about, write in at treeofgeek.com. You can hit up our website, do the contact us form, and let us know.
I heard it's the second biggest website next to google.com. The analytics on the internet don't lie.
Well, according to the analytics, we're like 98% successful as a website, and all I can think is it's mostly me working on it.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. Yeah, you're really good.
So yeah, I'm putting time into it, people. Please go look at the dang website.
I'm sorry, some of us are driving a vehicle. We can't be typing. Though I do think and work on the podcast as much as possible.
That being said, I do want to give a shout out to Steep. He did write in a little while back, asked us to do an episode on the new One Piece Netflix show, considering both H-Train and I know nothing about the actual show, the series. I personally have very little anime knowledge.
Me either.
Okay. And then we also had a friend, Eric, write in, giving us his list on the Spider-Man movies. And Eric, I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I disagree with about 99% of your list.
I appreciate that you wrote in. Obviously, from you folks out there hearing our list, you know that how ours was. And you didn't get to read his, but I did get a little head scratchy, But, hey, we all have our own opinions, and that's what I want. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear your thoughts on things. And, tell us how it is.
I can appreciate, though, that his number one was The Amazing Spider-Man 3, the unreleased, unfilmed movie, because that means that he had a positive outlook and he had hopes for the future.
Yeah.
And I do agree. It probably would have been pretty good.
I think a lot of those movies would have been a lot better had some other hands been in control. Or maybe some of the hands that weren't in control got their hands smacked. But more ranting on that, you can go back and listen, if you have not already, listen to our rankings of the Spider-Man flicks.
All right, let's dive into this. So to get started, I guess the first thing we should do is classify what magic is. Now, I say that because there's so many different types of magic that could be considered, well, magic. Great example. In Harry Potter, You have wand magic. That's how I view it because you never see somebody cast something without a wand.
Yeah, a lot of wandcraft going on.
You have like alchemy in Full Metal Alchemist. You have sorcery and dark magic in The Witcher. Stuff like that. So
It's all kind of based out of where it comes from, of how it's used.
see, that's the thing. I guess the question is how do we decide where to start?
Well, I think that's a good start right there. I guess a question that I would ask you blatantly is, if you could use magic, would you rather use magic with your hands, just like innately? Or would you rather use a wand, or would you rather use a staff?
Ooh.
Like in The Magicians, amazing
Certain-
show. Amazing
certain
show.
hand motions to like tap into certain spells.
It's like mathematics mixed in with
yeah. If
magic.
you haven't watched The Magicians, you definitely go watch it.
You read the books, don't you have the books?
I gave them away. After I read them, if I don't think I'm going to go back and read books again, I give them away. That's just what I do.
Makes sense.
The trilogy, book-wise, for Magicians, completely different than the show.
That's what I heard.
Like, completely different. And I rarely say this. I like the show significantly better.
I never read the books, but the show, blown away. I'm rewatching it again here and there, and
I've watched it the whole way through twice.
The second time around for me.
And I will say, and if you've seen it, you'll understand what I mean. Every time I hear the song Take On Me by Aha, I tear up a little bit. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Just thinking about it, I'm not kidding.
That show does bring up some emotion in you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that's what you want out of a property, out of a TV show, or where there's music. You want to get an emotional response.
Oh, absolutely. That show's great at like giving you that bond with characters. And I'm not going to say always, not like Game of Thrones, but when one gets ripped away, it hurts. It really does. Back to your question. I would want to just be able to cast with my hands. I don't like the idea of relying on a third-party medium to do my work.
Maybe it's not relying. Maybe you just want to show off. Like, hey, check this out.
Even then, I'd rather have some type of, not a wand. I don't want to be twirling it around. And
you want a sling ring?
I just feel like anytime you're holding something, the odds of you being disarmed and becoming worthless are too high.
True.
What about you?
I go with my hands as well. I know I'm talking a lot of jib jab back and forth, but I go with my hands. You know, it's staff. What do you got to magically like shrink it down? A wand just seems.
Well, isn't a staff
silly.
just an oversized wand?
No, of course not.
Let us know in the comments.
I mean, it does, how big's the staff? You know?
I mean, how different would Lord of the Rings be if Gandalf came riding down the hill at Helm's Deep, waving a wand in the air?
But if he holds it like Voldemort, you know, just kind of like funky. And for you guys out there, if you really want to treat, if you're not in tune to this yet, why you're still living in caves under rocks, I don't know. Epic rap battles of history. You have, you know, Gandalf versus Dumbledore, which is a classic one. And then later on, I don't know which one came first. I think that one did. But yeah, later on they have George R.R. Martin versus J.R.R. Tolkien, which is one of my all-time favorite epic rap battles.
I've never seen that one.
Oh, man. It's fantastic.
They don't make those anymore, though, right?
They haven't in quite some time.
All right, I thought so.
Yeah, it's saddening.
Back to the magicians. My question I was going to ask was, what kind of magic do you think they're using? Is it more of like a traditional sense, like an elemental? Like we were just saying, like there's sorcery, there's necromancy, all that type of stuff.
As far as I understand it from the show, and keep in mind there will probably be some mild spoilers here about some properties, because when you're explaining things and, you know, talking about them, that's going to happen. They have a pool of magic in that magical other realm, so they need to pull from that magic, and I think it's a conduit. They are the conduit of that magic too. But I don't know, they have all those classes where they have to learn how to put their fingers in a certain way. But I think it's a combination of willpower and being able to pull from that pool of magic. That'd be my answer for that.
All right, yeah, I can take that. So what I really like,
Take it, you shall.
I know you've never read it, and I brought it up before, but the books, the Dresden Files, he at different points has like kind of like a wand. He has what he calls a boomstick, which is essentially just for like fireball. Sometimes he has a staff.
Was he a fan of The Evil Dead?
Not that kind of boomstick. No,
Well,
shocking.
yeah, I know, but I mean, I was just curious.
I don't know.
The writer was a fan of.
Actually, I don't know. That's a really good question. But no, he always has like items that he imbues the magic into, or attunes to, you could say, that he uses to cast his magic. But like you were saying about the pool of magic, in that world, all of his magic comes from his inner will. So like if he's beaten down in a battle and he's near death, he has nothing to pull from. Whereas, which I like better compared to movies like Harry Potter, where it seems like there's an infinite amount of magic and anybody can use it at any
Slow
time.
magic, but yeah, I know what you're saying. What this Dresden guy kind of reminds me of, like in the comics, like the power cosmic, where somebody imbues you with the power cosmic, but there's some characters that just innately have it and they get drained of power, even though they can like feed off of it in some cases or steal it or give it. Their battery still runs super low. I don't know if that's anywhere close of making any sense, but
well, kind of. Like in the books, he even says that he's in the newspaper or not the newspaper, the phone book as a wizard for hire. And they go into explain how like in everyday life there's wizards and witches and vampires and werewolves, everything around you, but normal people are just
it's like that Grimm show.
Right. Like normal people are just too blind to see it. They don't want to see it. And that's kind of the premise of the show not the show. There was a show. It wasn't nearly
like
as good.
Sci-Fi Channel or something.
I think so. It wasn't
like
nearly
10,
as good.
15, 20 years ago. I don't know. A long
Might have
time
been
ago.
FX.
Yeah.
But yeah, the premise was like keeping it quiet while still using it to help people.
Do you think that's kind of like an innocence thing where like kids can see magical stuff, but when you get jaded, you take things for granted after a while and you just kind of go blind to stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I firmly agree with that. If you don't want to see it, you're not going to see it. They've really played on that a lot with some things.
Sounds like an interesting concept.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to read it.
I think 17 books.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, it's big. They got a lot of fans.
Yeah.
I've never met one other than you, but I'm sure they have a lot of fans out there.
I know for a fact at least 3 of our listeners have listened to it.
Right on.
And that's because one of them told me to listen to it. One of them I got to listen to it. And then one of them, the guy who told me to listen to it, told him to listen to it.
Does he wear a trench coat, the character, the Dresden guy? I keep trying to think of the trailer for Sci-Fi or FX, whatever it was on.
Yes.
He look like Doctor Who?
I can't remember his name right now. Something that's Blackthorn. Do you remember the show Arrow?
Yes.
He played Laurel Lance's father.
Okay, yeah. I don't know the actor's name, but I know.
I can't remember. It's something Blackthorn. Paul, maybe.
I don't know.
That's gonna drive me nuts.
It reminds me of Blackwood from Sabrina the Teenage Witch remake show they brought out, which is magical, so it fits into the episode.
I only saw the first season. I did like it.
Emily watched it all.
Nice.
I caught enough pieces to where I was like, oh, all right. In fact, I'm going to Ocean's Calling Festival, this beach concert, and the guy from Sabrina, who was the initial boyfriend, has a band that's playing at the concert that we're going to see.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. I should know his name if I'm going to see him.
All right. So let me ask you this. What do you prefer in your movies and comic books and whatnot? Do you prefer when the hero or the magic user has a limited amount of magic they can use, or do you prefer it when they're unlimited?
Well, I would say to answer that question, you would have to bring off the contrast between, like, say, Dumbledore and Gandalf, the magic in Lord of the Rings, and the magic in Harry Potter. So you have Dumbledore facing Voldemort and the Ministry of Magic. They're whipping stuff around, things going crazy. He's this big, powerful, badass wizard. I mean, Dumbledore was. He was cool as hell. Then you have somebody like Gandalf, who sees this giant army coming to Minas Tirith to jack things up. He doesn't really do a lot. He rides down on his horse and swings his sword around. He shines some light, but he's supposed to be like this ancient, magical, powerful guy. So I kind of like a mixture. I don't want an OP, which I usually don't use that term. I'll use it here. I think overpowered is better because I can use all of my words and all of my syllables. But when you have somebody that's overpowered...
LOL.
LMAFAO. I'm sexy and I know it.
Oh, geez.
I prefer a character or a story that has magic and maybe a medium way. Like, I don't think I want a character that can just do anything, because a lot of times in magical stories, that's the issue, is like, well, why didn't you just use magic to fix the problem?
Right.
Like, why didn't they just ride the birds into the... So
there's actually, if I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. Which, yes, I am working on show notes. There's a site, or part of our site, for show notes. There's a YouTube video where someone very carefully explains why they couldn't use the eagles to fly the ring into Mordor.
I wonder if it's like their feathers would just burst into flames like out there in that desert in
No.
Mexico or
So,
New Mexico, wherever it was.
Just a real quick overview of it. The basic idea was that the giant eagles were actually an almost godlike creature in the world of Middle Earth. And the fear was that if they acquired the ring or if it was too close to them, that it would corrupt them. And then you would have like this
Angry birds.
demigod. Yeah. Yeah. You'd have Alfred Hitchcock's, was it?
Birds.
Birds. Yeah.
Yes.
But giant birds.
Well, okay.
So there's a third option, though, to the magic question, not the birds.
Okay, what's the third option?
What about a shared pool? When I was thinking about this, I was thinking like
Well, that's like a Highlander thing then.
Exactly.
You gotta keep killing
like
each other.
Highlander,
There
where
can be only one.
as you kill someone, you take their power, or the movie Covenant, where it's attached directly to your life force,
Good movie.
and the more you use it, the
It's a good
older
movie.
you get, quicker. But if you kill someone, you can take theirs. Well, if they're a warlock.
That's a question. How do you feel about warlocks and witches? You know, there used to be that whole thing where there's no such thing as warlocks, only male witches. Like in Harry Potter, they're called, is Harry still a witch? Well, I guess he's a wizard, right? I guess I answered my own
I
question
think it's
there.
witches and wizards. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said the word warlock, and there's a whole movie series, Warlock, which really sad to hear about Julian Sands. So that was horrible. But sorry, just he was a good actor. He's a lot of good movies. Rose Red, good stuff. But anyway, do you care about warlocks? Do you care about that terminology at all?
No. I mean,
You just roll with it. That's what I do. I just roll with it. I don't know if like actual Wiccans get offended about it or not. I'm not sure.
gotcha. No, I just know that a warlock was always a term that I knew of when it was essentially just a magic user, whereas a wizard was a ancient magic user, I guess.
There's so many different definitions when you get to
They're just words.
sorcerer or wizard or witch or warlock,
Right.
like where they get their magic, how they use it. Is it dark magic, light magic, blah, blah.
Well, that's a great question, which I have on my list of questions. At what point does magic become dark magic? Like, how do you know the difference? Because, I mean, in games like D&D and Diablo, you see stuff like necromancy, which is obviously more of a dark magic. And in Multiverse of Madness, technically that was necromancy.
Yeah, came back from
Spoiler.
the dead. Necro's dead, so.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
Whereas in games like Dungeons and Dragons and Elder Scrolls, stuff like that, there's like a divinity magic for like restoration and healing. And
Well, that's calling on your divine savior of whoever you're following.
but from the video
give you
game
power.
aspect, they're both using magic. Or from the fictional aspect. What's the difference?
Well, like you said, it's all about the source of where it comes from.
But you just said in like magicians, it's just a literal. Like,
Well, that's a pull,
pull.
yeah. Which it still is connected to the divine because the people that created that other universe are those two godlike
goats,
goats.
satyrs.
Yeah, so it's an offshoot. It's not like pure divine because the actual divine being is not doing or imbuing them with power, but the divine being did make the pool of power which is coming from. So it's like a cousin of divine.
Interesting. Okay.
That's my perspective on it. When we were making our game, our diadem game, I had broken it down. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Or failed tabletop
yeah,
game.
but I did have it in 3 different sections of like your powers of where they came from.
All right. So on that same note, getting a little bit away from the dark versus light, how do you view different franchises that use the same type of magic but in totally different ways? A great example would be like Avatar: Last Airbender, using like these elemental magics, whereas Magic the Gathering, it has different elemental type magics in the game, but they're used completely differently.
It'd be hard for me to answer a lot of that because I don't play Magic and I only watched the Avatar movie. This is how I would view any different genre or different story using the same type of magic in a different way. Is this when I watch a movie and somebody can jump off a building in one movie, but then like they can't in the other one. Wait a minute, how did he survive that? It's a different universe. It's a different physics. It's different. It's just a different form. It's a different reality. Frequencies may be different, or however you tap into things are different. So the outcomes are different. It's just a whole different set. It may be the same game pieces, but the whole entire thing's just set up differently. You know,
Okay.
like every reality or realm or dimension. It's all different. You know, whether it's the mirror dimension or the dark dimension or the dimension that we're in or a micro dimension. Like it all might have basically what you think of the same things. They're just they're viewed in a different way, like maybe through a different lens. So therefore, it's like your atmosphere, like how the ray of that sun, our sun comes through, or another type of sun might come through our atmosphere differently. I could be completely wrong. I'm not a scientist, but you know, it's just how they're mixed together. I would surmise.
Okay. Or I mean, I guess you could also look at it as like werewolves in Underworld versus werewolves in Harry Potter.
Yeah, well,
It's the same idea. It's a different.
Yeah, somebody goes, well, that's a werewolf, and then they'd be like, well, that's not a werewolf because this is a werewolf over here. You know, they're either way different creatures at all that are just called werewolves because they come from different people's imaginations,
Right.
or they're like a different type of species of werewolf or something like that. Any lycanthropy or Therians or stuff like that. Yeah. So you're asking about like different type of magic and different things. What type of like magical TV shows and movies are like you into that you watch? Like what are like some of your favorites? And I'm not saying let's like list off your top 10. We're not doing a list here, but just like off the top of your head, like movies. Like give me 3 movies that are like I like that type of magic, and give me 3 TV shows who are like that are magical. No particular order.
Oh man, wow! Nothing like put me on the spot. Well, as I've said before in episode 1, my favorite franchise is Lord of the Rings. So right there, I mean, I see it as yes a magical realm, but as you said, he doesn't really do much. He just shines his flashlight.
I'm not sure what any of the wizards really did.
Now, Tom Bombadil, he's not in the movies, but he was like
Definitely
a
not.
pure magical creature. He was
He
amazing.
has a pure magical name. It's just a cool name. I don't know. I think it's a funny name. I like it. Let me give you some examples. Did you watch The Wheel of Time?
No.
No. Well, the Magicians, you like the Magicians. So there's that.
Yeah, I like the Magicians. I like What We Do in the Shadows, which
That means vampires.
yeah, it's
I've tried to watch it.
British vampires. I mostly just watch it for the actor that played Douglas in IT Crowd. No, I definitely like movies and stuff that have that in it. It just gives it more of that mystical aspect. Like the Old Guard, I thought was fantastic.
didn't watch it.
Really, it's based
I
off
wanted
comics.
to, but I was way off. Emily wasn't really interested in. I watched so many TV shows and movies. I have
You would
so
like it.
many.
It's the idea of these people being immortal.
Yeah, and Charlize Theron.
Yes.
You know.
And the problem is at any point that could wear off and you could be mortal. And you could the next time you die you're dead. Like you never know when it's going to happen.
Well, live life to the fullest, I guess. You know, live today like it's your last.
But like in the movie they're essentially mercenaries for hire. And it's a graphic novel as well. It's great. You should definitely check it out. I strongly recommend that one.
It's on my list.
The Almighty Johnsons was a good one.
I'm sure I'm familiar with that.
Was
I'm a fraud.
it was I believe a New Zealand based show, or they were in New Zealand, one of the two, where
I would definitely check that out then.
like Norse gods like Thor and Odin, they are reincarnated into people, and on your 18th birthday you discover which god lives within you basically, and you are essentially that god. Like the one character, he's I can't remember his name now, but the god of games. And so he can win any game, gambling, whatever, every single time without fail.
Sounds like an episode of Supernatural.
Kind of. But the whole idea is that they need to get Thor and Frigga back together so that the gods can ascend back up to Asgard. But it never happens. Something always happens, and the people either die before they can be reunited or whatever, and so they get reincarnated again. And it follows this family that discovers that their youngest is in fact Odin. And so, or not, did I say Thor and Frigga?
Thor and Frigga.
Yeah, that's his mom. Odin.
Hey, listen, mythology, anything goes.
It's great though,
anything goes.
It's great
I love
because
mythology.
Thor is like this fat old guy who just carries the basic hammer around all the time.
I'll definitely put that one on my list for sure.
It's good.
And I mentioned, do you watch Supernatural? Because that you could do a whole entire episode on that.
Yeah, I watched up through I think season 12 when like the black smoke was coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about when I stopped.
I've seen them all.
I liked it, don't get me wrong, but it just, I burn out because I was trying to watch all of it, and I just got to a point where like, okay, I get it. You're going to die, you're going to come back, I'm done. Spoiler, they die a lot.
Quite a bit.
Did they ever get Adam back?
Adam.
Exactly.
Yes,
Nobody
yes.
remembers Adam. Adam was the third brother
Yeah.
that got stuck
Yes.
in the cage.
Yeah. They get Adam back.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not gonna tell you when. Maybe he dies again too. Maybe he
Well,
comes back
everyone
after that.
does. I'm sure everyone does. The car probably does.
All I know is as far as TV show endings, Game of Thrones or Lost, I think Supernatural, I think they stuck the landing on theirs. I haven't really heard a whole lot of.
What'd they do? 15 seasons?
I don't know the count. I'm not very good with like season numbers or. I was listening
Season
to
8,
a
episode
Trexperts podcast today, and they ask a bunch of questions about episode names. Like, I'm bad at that stuff. Like, what episode did Picard do this? I'm like, I don't know. I know the episode. I don't know the name. I don't know that stuff. But, yeah, well, that's a good mix. Anything else you want to shout out? I mean, because I love anything that's magical. I've been watching stuff since a little kid.
Yeah, I mean, I watch anything. I'm trying to think of what I've seen recently that would fall into this category, because pretty much everything I watch is in one way or another.
You watch The Witcher?
I haven't watched the last season, no.
Okay.
But
I'm almost through it. It's been a very slow watch.
now, is the season that just came out, does that have Henry Cavill?
Yeah, it's his last season.
All right, and then did they cancel it, or are they doing another one without?
They're doing one with Thor's brother, Liam Hemsworth.
Interesting. Okay.
The one that Miley Cyrus doesn't need to get flowers from.
Oh yeah, him. She can buy herself flowers.
She can. Oh wow. I've recently been watching Wheel of Time. I try to put it in my rotation. Lately, we try to finish all. Like if a show has like 4 episodes left, like let's nip this one first. And it's hard sometimes to find time to watch things together that we both agree on, and then watch stuff that the other one doesn't want to watch.
Oh, I get that. We're watching cooking shows right now because it's the only thing we can agree on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would not make it in that household. I'm waiting for the next House of the Dragon season. We're going to be waiting on a lot of things for a lot of time, I think.
Because of that writer's strike.
I mean, there's a Hocus Pocus sequel. The third one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know.
So it took them 20 years to make a sequel, and now they're going to pump another one
out. We brought everybody over last year to watch it around Halloween, and we were all so disappointed at the end of that. It was horrible. It was a cookie cutter. It was garbage.
I heard it was a very poor movie. I never saw it.
Yeah, it's not very good.
But then I wasn't a big fan of the original. I didn't
like it.
grow up as a big fan of the Halloween season.
I'm a huge Halloween guy, so
I mean,
not that I automatically like everything that's Halloween.
Like the only horror movie I can remember, like right offhand, watching growing up was it 1409 or whatever?
Oh, it's a good the one with Samuel L. Jackson and
John Cusack.
Yeah,
about the essentially haunted hotel room.
It was a good flick. I'm gonna probably rewatch it again when I get to that year.
That was a good one. Yeah. Why don't you, since we're in that season, why don't you tell our listeners what you're doing right now?
I am currently, along with my friend in Arizona, going through every single year, starting at 1980, up until whenever we finish it, 2025. I just finished 1986. I'm going through every single year, watching a bunch of movies, horror movies that I've never seen before, and I'm taking those movies and I'm putting them in a big list. With the movies I have seen.
Now, do you have a minimum number of movies from each year?
25 to 30.
From each year?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Now listen, some of those on the list I've already seen. I'm not rewatching Gremlins again or some other movies. If I've seen them enough times in my life, I don't need to. But what's an example? Like if it's the third entry in a series, if I've
Sharknado?
No, they will not. I'm not watching Sharknado, and my friend's like, "Are you gonna watch The Toxic Avenger?" No, I'm not gonna watch that. But I was like Slaughter High or Night Train to Terror, like some of these movies I've never seen.
Zombiever?
No, I'm not gonna watch that either. If it has anything to do with the Sci-Fi Channel, I'm probably not gonna watch it. I don't know.
It's literally about toxic waste spilling on a beaver dam, and the beavers dying and coming back as flesh-eating zombie beavers trying to kill these campers.
Yeah, no, thank you.
It's hysterical. It's like your classic B-list horror movie that should not exist.
No, I usually watch a trailer first and decide if it's at least half worthy,
What about
but
Tucker
speaking
and
of
Dale?
podcasts, people out there should watch Deadstream. It's about this podcaster who pulls off like this Logan Paul thing where he's canceled. So he decides he's going to go to this supposed haunted house, live streams it all, and bad shit happens. And it's funny, and it's well, I don't think a lot of movies are scary at all, but it does have some jump scares and things like that. So yeah, I'm going through these years, then I'm ranking the top 10, what I think are the best of the year. You know, basically how I find out is I go through everybody else's list on the internet, compile a list, and then my buddy gives me his top 10 as well. Yeah.
Well, you know, Jenna Ortega's in the new Scream.
Yes.
That's,
You are way behind on the time.
It's the only thing
She's in the last 2 Screams.
That's the only thing I know.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know if she's going to be in the next one or not. She's I don't know if they got her under contract or not.
I'll put it this way. Just last year, I finally binged and watched all the Alien movies and all the Predator movies. I'd never seen anything but the first of each.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was told that I was a disgrace because that's like they're cult classics. Everybody should have watched them.
The top movie for me from 1986 was Aliens.
Alien or Aliens?
Aliens.
The second one.
Alien, I do believe it's like 78 or 79.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
Aliens, the one that James Cameron took over for.
I mean, I loved them. They were all, well, not all of them. Some of them were pretty rough.
they have some cool parts, some later ones.
But Prey. That's
great.
what got me going was I wanted to watch Prey, and a buddy said, oh, well, you know, it's a Predator prequel. And I said, oh, no, I've never seen them all. And he said, if you're going to watch
So
it.
you're watching all the Aliens and all the Predators?
I did.
Okay.
I looked up the movie order, and I watched them in what was technically the chronological order, starting with Prey. And Prey was easily, I think, my favorite of the Predators. That was just a fantastic movie.
I don't know if it beats the first one, but it's close.
Well, when you go from that to the CGI of the first one, it's very hard.
When I watch a movie, because obviously I'm watching these old 80s movies, I try to put myself in that mind state of, I mean, imagine watching Harry Potter 40 years from now. Like, wow, those, or even Lord of the Rings, going back now and watching Smeagol dive in after the ring in the water and seeing the big giant fish. Like, some of those forced perspective CGI scenes are a little funky even now.
Yeah.
So when I watch these movies, I try to go, okay, well, I don't have anything in 4K, these amazing Blu-rays. I used to watch stuff on VHS on like some scrambled screen stuff. Like, so I try.
Most stuff I watch is on my iPad.
I can screen a lot of it out in my head.
Like, I watch most stuff on my phone and iPad anymore.
Yeah. Right.
Is that 4K?
I don't know.
Probably
I don't know what my laptop is. That's what I watch a lot of them on. Now, if it's, granted, a little caveat to that, if the movie came out in the last 3 years, in the special effects, or if the special effects today can't match the Star Wars, the very first movie special effects, then we have a problem. You know, but
I have seen some today that are like D list. D as in dog.
I don't remember which one it was, but I watched it. I said it was, the tagline was the best ripoff of Star Wars, and it was from like 84, 85. It's the one that has oh man.
Was it Spaceballs?
Spaceballs is amazing.
It is.
I love Spaceballs. But we're getting off on a massive tangent here. Yeah.
Yeah, these have nothing to do with this magical season. Well, actually, I do have Star Wars on my list of.
I do too.
For my next section.
Well, we can jump into it now. It's like science plus magic.
Exactly. I have it written down here as how does science fiction and technology intersect with magic? And my example is Final Fantasy, Star Wars, The Magicians, where technology in like either an advanced or even a basic way are mixed directly in with some form of magic. What is that?
This here is a book. It's like D&D, but it's called Rifts. I don't even know where I picked this book up from. Might even be my buddy's book that I just never gave back. But it's basically like a D&D setting where technology and magic exist at the same time. So you have like some zombies shooting machine guns at you while
kind of like Pathfinder, how like they allow you to have gunslingers, stuff like that.
Yeah, but there's also sorcery going on at the same time.
Interesting.
Yeah. When you talk about it, I just kind of glanced over, and that's what it reminded me of. Never played it, but I got the book.
Now I know I'm going to tick off a lot of people, but do you consider the Force magic, or do you consider it to be this?
It's cosmic. It's like the power cosmic.
Okay, that's what I
don't think it's.
And I was going to say I was going to piss off a lot of people because I know some people take that show, and I'm sorry.
Some people tick off Jedi as their religion, so we don't want to offend anybody.
They do.
You can view. I think the joy about those type of franchises, those properties, is that you can view it in so many different lenses.
Did you know that there's some people who actually think the Lord of the Rings happened on our Earth in the future, but it was written in the past?
That's not confusing at all.
I know. I was reading a theory online that, like they were trying to map out where this could be in the real world and all this stuff. But it will happen one day after people have ascended and can, handle cosmic magical powers, and technology is wiped out from a nuclear war, and that's why you have Mount Doom. It's actually a crater. Like they have all this stuff figured out, and that somehow the story of it was either sent back in time or Tolkien had visions of the future when he wrote it. I wish I was kidding.
I've never heard of this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because
It's the same theory that people think with Star Wars, that it actually happened in the past in a solar system far, far away.
So George Lucas and J.R. Tolkien and maybe George R.R. Martin.
They're all seers.
They're all seers. They're all prophets. I mean, did you watch the Netflix thing, Graham Hancock?
No.
That he had? Like, some mystery show. I guess I could Google the answer, but it was pretty interesting looking back at, he believes that there was a civilization before ours, and that's been lost and buried, and there's many different factors of why we don't see the stuff there, but there's, I guess, a lot of archaeologists. This guy's been on Joe Rogan and a lot of other places, but he's been like kind of banned from certain scientific communities, and he's quite often said that he wants to debate other archaeologists and scientists. Like they say he's a crackpot because he's like, I'm not a real archaeologist, I'm not a real scientist, but this is what I believe, and I've met with these guys and they've given me so-called evidence. And
looks like it's on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse.
yes, I mean, I'm not saying the guy's
He's also
wrong.
the one that did the books like Magicians of the Gods, Fingerprints
Yes.
of the Gods.
Yeah.
I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's right, and I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying just like I do when I watch Ancient Aliens, it opens your mind. I just watched Dial of Destiny and Crystal Skull and all those movies with Indiana Jones.
No,
and some of
I haven't watched Dial of
I'm not going to
Destiny.
spoil anything on those because they are, well, one of them's new.
Still waiting on my wife for Dial of Destiny. Just saying.
Tell her your clock is ticking.
I know she doesn't
right?
listen. She doesn't even listen to this. She's
Well,
told me that
that's what you need to go tell her.
she has told me she fully supports me doing this. If I want to, go ahead.
Glad.
But don't expect her to listen to it. It doesn't interest her at all. And I'm like, you know what? That's a deal.
That's fine. Well, she can just go give you a fake 5-star review instead.
Hey, honey, if
kidding.
you could
I'm
just
kidding.
get on Spotify and click like.
Just download it. Make sure you just listen to it all the way with the audio off.
That sounds like a good plug. Make sure you visit Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the above to like us, people.
Wherever you get your podcasts. I love how they always list every single podcast platform, and then they say wherever you can get your podcasts. And I said, if I ever have a podcast, why don't we just say, hey, go ahead and listen to us wherever
Or it's,
you
hey,
want to listen to us.
if you're hearing this, whatever you're using right now,
Keep using it.
yeah, keep using it. Unless you're on our website, treeofgeek.com.
It's rising fast.
I know, it is. It is. Back on technology, like science fiction mixed with magic, how do you feel whenever they played up that like magic interferes with technology and vice versa? Normally it's magic like causes technology to short out or, stuff like that. Like in the Dresden Files, that's a huge thing. He doesn't do computers, cell phones, nothing, because magic will
I think
blow
it's like
them
an
out.
EMP type thing in a way. Maybe it's not
Yeah,
electromagnetic pulses itself, but
Well, in the
when I was
first
talking about-
book, there's a huge lightning storm coming in, and he harnesses some of that power. So he really plays up on like it's your inner power, but it's also your environment can play a huge role in it. But he also if he tries to cast any magic when he's around like a computer, it's almost guaranteed fried.
yeah.
But then you get magicians where they're casting spells, whip out their cell phone, send a text, cast a few more. Like
I think it's a different, I keep saying wavelength, but like frequency of where, if you look at string theory, which let's not get into that whole entire thing of spaghetti, but
we'll have Sheldon
How-
Cooper on.
yeah, he can explain it. I never got to solve it. I don't know if does he ever solve it? I don't think he does. Is that the one that he has to give up on?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
I only ever saw it the whole way through, I think once.
Oh, that's a good show.
Spoiler, he does get his Nobel Prize. But I don't even remember what for.
It's something to do with Amy. I think they have to share it. And it's been out long enough. You people can't get
Yeah.
spoiled by this. Yeah,
Well,
it was
I'll
a very
go rewatch
abrupt ending. But anyway, like all these different existences or realities are humming at a different frequency. Maybe that's how magic and other supernatural forces work. Like if you want to like segue here into like ghosts and spirits and things. So I think that, you know, if it does work, it's got to be a frequency thing of some sort. You know, you got to be attuned to maybe see ghosts or don't see ghosts or have spirits speak to you.
So it's funny you say it that way. I'm a huge fan of the unexplained, as you know. I've said this many times.
He loves that Mysterious Universe podcast.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
The podcast, Mysterious Universe, it's Aaron and Ben out of Australia.
You didn't tell me it was Australian.
Oh, yeah, they're both Australian. I could listen to them talk all day.
The Trexperts guy I listened to, that's Australian too.
Oh, really?
Oh, or New Zealand. It's
their
awesome.
whole podcast is all about the unexplained. Everything from aliens to Bigfoots to out-of-body experiences. And one I just listened to, they recently said about how a theory is that, like, the reason we never found a Bigfoot body, the reason you can't track Bigfoot, you never find Bigfoot crap or bones or anything, is that they live in a different frequency. That
there you go.
They can change their frequency to come into our world.
That's a cool camouflage.
And then they go back.
Some predator shit.
So, but they have to actively be here. So when they die, like if they would die here, they can't actively keep themselves here, and they get pulled back into their frequency, like their universe again.
Yeah, there's some comic book characters that have powers that are based on mental will. And I mean, I know there's like Green Lantern, but I mean, like, they have to focus. But I mean, you do the D&D thing. So sometimes when you cast spells, it's concentration spells.
Yeah.
And if you're knocked off your concentration, the spell's over. So I guess
but I just thought it was interesting you brought up frequency when that's what they were saying. Like, that's one theory on why we never see these things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the unexplained stuff as far as like ghosts exist or don't, or spirits, you know, we all have our different experiences in those situations or non-situations. But if it did, I think that's kind of how it would work.
Do you have anything like that?
I've never had any spiritual. I have had spiritual situations, but I've never had. If you talk about like, have you ever seen a ghost or, you know,
well, I mean, this is supposed to be our magic / spooky-esque podcast. So, do you have anything spooky? Like, have you ever woke up in the middle of the night and seen Bigfoot staring at you through your bedroom window?
I mean, obviously, when you're a little kid, you might think you see things and
holding
stuff.
a glass of scotch and smoking a cigar, you know.
Like, hey, pour me one, huh? Let me see your card. Gets out his blue light. Like, oh, what the hell? No. However, I did when I was younger. In fact, all the way up to about 5-6 years ago, had dealt with sleep paralysis on and off.
Oh, really?
Life. Yeah.
Just the idea of that has always, it was always very uncomforting to me.
If somebody out there is not sure what it is, and I didn't know for years what it was either. I thought maybe there was something kind of wacky going on that dealt with a supernatural type thing until I saw a couple of documentaries. I'll have to find the name of the one and put it in the show notes. But basically what happens is you go in bed, go to sleep, or you're on your couch. They've made a couple horror movies recently about these things too. But so you're laying down. It always happened usually when I was flat on my back. And basically I could feel from my toes all the way up my body, I would slowly not be able to move. I would try to scream for help, and I couldn't speak more than just a little whisper. And sometimes not even that. And like, you can move your eyes, but when you're a small kid and your room's already dark, like, I don't know if like your imagination goes wild, but there's hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of people who all have the same shared type of experience where they've heard voices. They've seen shadows move. There's a whole documentary on, I think it's called like The Dark Man or something, where everybody in this documentary has seen like the same dark figure, like in a doorway or in the corner of their room. And it's like has this weird, strange, dark voice to it, and freaks you out, man. Like, hard. But I remember like to snap out of it. Like, luckily a time or two, a cat would jump on me that I had as a child, and then like, your body's like woken up. But like 5 years ago, as a grown man, like in my 30s at this time, I'm laying next to Emily in bed, and it happens to me. And I'm like, no, come on, man, this has been years. And I'm trying so hard to scream her name. So hard. And I finally did snap out of it. I kind of knocked into her. I was like, Emily! She's like, what? And I was like, oh, man. And of course, I gave her the whole spiel, what's going on. And it was, as a grown man, I mean, there was a time or two when I would feel it happening from my feet up, and I just let it roll. I'd be like, okay, here it is. But then it would just kind of, it would happen.
Like, you never tried to fight it? Like,
no, I just
get out
kind
of bed
yeah, I
or
was just like,
something?
let's just let it go. Let's just let it happen. And I did, but I didn't hear any weird voices. I didn't see anything strange. And that's probably when I was like 15, 16, or, because it started getting very rare. It wasn't happening. I'd say when I was like 10 or 11, it was happening quite often, like weekly. And it was just messing me up.
Now, I have to ask, how do you know it wasn't just a dream, like a lucid dream?
Because, well, I think I dream differently than other people. I don't know. I can usually, and I don't have nightmares. So,
Like, I dream in black and white, and this
no.
was in color.
like, I guess this would be like a Matrix type thing, but like I can tell what reality is and what isn't. I can tell if my eyes are awake and I'm looking around my room, like I'm looking around the room right now. Like I could tell. It wasn't. I guess it was more blurred. Like the first time or two it happened because I think I was in first grade the first time that happened.
Oh, so we're talking
So,
30 plus years ago.
Yeah, like it's happened several. I'm gonna say it's happened to me over 20 times. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, but like I said, not 5 years ago. You watch it go to bed tonight, and that's where it'll be. I remember you. Like, oh, okay. Hey, what's up, bud?
Hey, can you give me a glass of water while you're up?
Really thirsty. We have too many cats jumping around our bed now. Oh, they say cats. Then there's a thing where cats can keep evil at bay, and witches don't like them and things. But then witches do like them, depending on the story. I don't know if you're in Hocus Pocus or not.
I don't know what to tell you there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't practice witchcraft, so I'm not sure.
So, like, from my point of view, I'll quick background. I grew up very, very skeptic on anything of this nature. I've never personally had any type of unexplained experience. I will say I very clearly remember riding bike as a kid, and I'd hear somebody yell my name, but like I'd swear it was my mother, but she didn't. She'd always say, "No, I didn't yell for you." Like just little things like that. That to this day I have no idea what it was. It could have been the neighbor yelling at their dog. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
But nothing like unexplained like that. I've always been a very I hate using the word skeptic because there's some things I would love to be able to believe, but then there's some things that I just because of who I am, I can't.
X-Files say the truth is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
That's another show that I only ever watched like half of.
Yeah, it was on super late. I never really got hooked into it.
That was a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on like when I was, elementary school, and it was just one of those I never really got into.
Well, for a long time, I didn't have a lot of TV channels, and it was one of those shows that was on at like 1 o'clock in the morning on syndication on reruns. Yeah. So I would catch a little bit, but
I will say that the show that I think really sparked my interest in all the weird stuff. Like, do you remember? I think it was Disney. I'm pretty sure it was Disney. It had a show called So Weird.
No, but I remember Erie in Indiana.
I don't remember that one.
Or Erie, Indiana.
So Weird was a girl whose mother was a country singer. So they travel on the bus all the time.
This is Hannah Montana.
No.
No?
And anywhere they go, she would just happen to find some weird supernatural something going on that she would investigate and always end up helping the spirit or helping the, Bigfoot.
Oh, so it's a Disney supernatural.
Kind of. I mean, I'll see if I can find. I have a copy a friend gave me. It gets very you could tell it was recorded on a computer off of a VHS.
We're talking like late 90s?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. I might have seen. I've never watched it, but the name. Now that I really think.
That was I think for that and the Goosebumps books.
Yeah. Well, there was a time where
which I wasn't allowed to read. I had to get them from my friends at school and keep them on my desk.
Oh no.
A lot of things like this were just off the table. Like I wasn't allowed to watch Scooby-Doo because it portrayed ghosts and stuff, which was always a dude in a mask, by the way.
Yeah. You would have got away with it too, one for those damn kids.
It's true. Funny enough, I wasn't allowed to play with Pokemon cards growing up.
I tell you who can play with Pokemon cards. You're like, why are we talking about sports on this podcast? Thanks for the segue there. I heard that there's a guy who plays for the Saints, Jamal Williams, and he loves Pokemon so much that he has fans when they come to the stadium for like their practices and stuff. He will trade his signature for Poke gear. He plays Pokemon Go.
Are you serious?
Yes. Like the dude's a huge. My friend said that he's heard interviews with him saying that he wants to get done with games sometimes because he has anime to go watch when he gets home. Like he's this huge nerd geek guy, and that's amazing. So, I mean, like, you can love Pokemon and
Jamal
anything.
Williams.
Jamal Williams, I do believe is his name.
All right, this is a call. Anybody listening that has any connection to Jamal Williams, get him on our show.
Yeah, we'll talk some Pogo.
You tag him, whatever you got to do. You get him on our show.
You get it, yeah.
He's fast, is that what you said?
Yeah, he's fast. He plays football.
Oh, yeah,
He's
okay.
like running. I think he's a running back.
Just take a second.
I'm not a Saints fan.
Take a second. Could you imagine if one day we actually got somebody like that on here?
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Like, hey, we're going to talk about Warhammer tonight. Oh, hey, this is our friend Henry Cavill.
Oh, hey, we play some D&D with Joe.
The second best Superman.
Manganello.
No, I'm just kidding. I think he's probably one of the best Superman.
I like him as Superman.
I would, oh my word, I'd give my left foot to play D&D with Joe Manganiello. You know, in his basement, he has an entire D&D room.
Well, it might be Sophie's. Sophie is with the.
Unfortunately, there's a divorce going on there.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
You know, if Henry Cavill was here, I would actually probably talk to him about a Hellraiser movie he was in before he became Superman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one with Lance Hendrickson. Yeah, I'd be like, hey, so back in the day when you hung out with Pinhead on that set, like, how was that? How was Doug Bradley?
Or how was getting your mustache CGI'd off?
Is Tom Cruise really short? We want to know.
I've seen so many Photoshop pictures lately of Tom Cruise standing next to what they say tall women, but they're like 5'8", and they Photoshop him to be like a hobbit down at their waist.
So it's not that Kate Kennedy who's like 6'5".
Yeah. Wow. Talk about a rabbit trail.
Yes. Rabbit trail, rabbit hole.
Yeah. Bringing it back around.
Bringing it back around to geeky type stuff, and it is the Halloween season. What is your take on the cosplay scene that's out there? Because that's, like, I think huge. People go to the conventions. People are dressing up as superheroes for Halloween. You know, I thought about doing an Omni-Man, but that means I'd have to shave my beard again. You know, Emily's really getting tired of every Halloween I have a mustache.
Get one of those bald beard caps that you put on your chin. It's basically like a stretched out balloon.
I can't play beer pong like that.
So I think first I'd have to ask you what kind of cosplay you're talking, because I very firmly believe that there's two totally different categories at this point.
And what are they?
Well, three. There's leisure cosplay where, like, I'm going to wear a hoodie that kind of looks like Desmond Miles from Assassin's Creed and a backpack that looks like his.
Like stuff you buy from Hot Topic?
Yeah. And like a plastic, a pop-out blade that I got from GameStop, because I did this once at a Comic-Con, I'm not going to lie.
Thank you for not lying.
Thank you for not judging. That's more just like that. Nah, yeah, I'll give it a shot just for fun. Then there's an old coworker of mine. I won't say names for privacy's sake. I know that her and her fiance spent tons of time and money building out their costumes to like get as real as they could, like down to the last detail. They were really, really into it. And it wasn't even a matter of like, oh, we're going to join a cosplay competition and win money. It was simply, we want to do it. We're going to do it right. And then there's the third type, which is essentially, look at me, I'm half naked, but I'm pretending to be Tracer.
Oh, adult cosplay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah. Because I hate when people are like, I'm Mario, and it's like a bikini with an M on the boob. Like,
that's just OnlyFans.
That's
people
like,
trying to make money, and hey, make your money the way you want. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, but
to each their own.
Just don't desecrate my Mario.
I didn't realize you felt that strongly about Mario. Like, I'm surprised you weren't like, I'm Princess Peach. No, you went to Mario. Did this girl have a mustache as well?
Yeah, it was on a stick.
Oh, okay.
You hold it up. No, honestly, I was always a Luigi guy because I'm the younger brother. So anyone who played the old school Mario knows exactly what I'm talking about. Thanks, Jeremy, if you're listening. I got the crappier controller every time. I was Luigi every time. Broken. If we were playing Super Smash Brothers, the world would end if I picked Link. Link was his.
I don't like that game.
I hope you're happy that you got first dibs. And you know what? I learned Pikachu, and I dominated with Pikachu.
Did you?
I did.
I played it one evening, a handful of times, and I don't like it.
I like the original N64.
I'm not a video game guy, though. To be fair, I don't play a lot of video games, but I was absolutely atrocious. And it's not that I hate it because I wasn't good at it. It's just I could not get a grasp on it. It was just pure chaos, and I didn't like it.
Gotcha.
But I understand people love it.
Gotcha. Okay, so reeling it back in for like the 13th time, bringing it back around. My take on cosplay is, yeah, if you want to do it, I prefer if you like do it right. Go all out. Make me believe that you're the character.
Right on. I enjoy watching videos of like Comic-Con. Yeah, I've never been to one, and I'd love to go.
We'll go.
Yeah, like I want to. Yeah, Philly or Pittsburgh. That's the one I want to do.
I'm not allowed in Pittsburgh. I'm a Flyers fan. They'll kill me there.
Oh yeah.
They'll smell it on. They'll smell my aura and be like, "You."
Yeah, I've seen people do cosplay that are just so much better than the movies. Years ago, the Age of Apocalypse, is that the name of the X-Men movie where the guy plays Moon Knight plays Apocalypse?
I think it was just X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay. So yeah, they just cut it down from the actual comic book name. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Which,
so
by the
much
way,
respect I have for that movie.
One of the lowest rated, but I still like it.
I'd have to give it a second chance, but
I think I just like it because it's the scene where Quicksilver goes in and saves everybody out of the building,
okay,
like while it's blowing up.
Right.
It's a great scene. Anything with
they did speed well in that movie. But my whole point is there was a couple guys at Comic-Con around that time that this movie was coming out and being made that did Apocalypse, and they were absolutely fantastic. Like,
oh wow,
these dudes were like, they looked at a panel, a couple photos from some books, and said, "This is what we're gonna make." And they made an accurate. They're like, oh well, when you transition things to a different medium, things are gonna change in production value. There's guys making these things in their garage that I'm like, that's better than half the movies I've seen.
Are you on Reddit?
I am on Reddit.
So I'm trying to remember what the subreddit was called. It wasn't cosplay, but it was people with 3D printing armor plates from Tony Stark's Iron Man suit. But the one guy actually, well, a couple now.
I think I've seen some of these.
They put in like all the electronics in the helmet, so like it'll open and close. Like they have like switches on their hands, so they can like change the lighting on them. It's movie quality stuff. Like a lot of it's not 3D printed. Like some of the people actually used metal and like bent it in the proper ways.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use the word forge because I don't know the proper technique for that.
No, they created it, they made it, they forged it.
If we went to Comic-Con tomorrow, who would you go as?
Oh, I have to dress up for this.
Give him what's in the room.
Or
not the room, in your house. What would you go as?
I have a couple Star Trek uniforms.
12 hours. You're not. So if you order anything online, you're not going to get it. You have 12 hours.
Maybe just I don't have any specific character stuff. But I would maybe I dress up every year for Ren Fair. I got my battle axe. I put the war paint on. I have a whole entire.
The battle axe over there on the wall.
Yes, I do carry that one.
Nice.
Yeah, you'd see I have a LARP staff there. I might take this year if I go this year.
Oh, you heard that right, folks? Age-trained LARPs. Or
has
LARPed. Yeah,
Uno LARPO Timo.
Full disclosure, he actually went with me.
Yes. You and Johnny.
To the LARP that we were going to, which I'm not gonna lie, incredible fun. It just wasn't quite for me. I'll say that. But it was incredible fun when I was there.
I appreciate what everybody does. I died and I'm in a hallway and this dude there, he was like talking to another dude and he's like, "What are you looking at?" And the dude's clearly looking at me. He's like, "That dude, there's nobody here." Like, because I was supposed to be playing pretend dead. So I take a lot of credit out of my pocket and I throw to those people because some of them, they're so in character that they just don't break. I wanted so hard to enjoy that experience, but I just couldn't play pretend the way they were doing it. I just couldn't. Like, you saw Johnny was like full deep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was. Yeah,
I would say he was neck deep, but he's not very tall to begin with.
No, he's not. We love you, Johnny.
We do. He'll be on one day when we get to a topic that he's adept at, like Dragon Ball or.
Weeks ago, he made us all watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So this
sorry.
Friday, he's being forced to watch Barbie. Yeah.
I don't know which is worse.
He's trying to screw him out of it. What? Come on, it's got Margot Robbie in it. It's got that other guy in it. And there's other people in it.
So I will say, if I was forced to dress up, the only thing I really have right now that I could go as would be like a villager of some sort. And that would be my LARP clothing with my little, it's not foam sword. I forget what it's Kalamazoo or something like that. It's like a...
Kalamazoo is a city.
No. Well, thank you. Welcome to Geography 101. I think the site was called Kalamazoo. I don't remember now. It's like a hardened foam, but it's not super hard, so it doesn't hurt. But it's soft, but not too soft, so it doesn't whip you.
Yeah, when I brought my sword, they're like, "We're not sure if we can use this." And I was like, "Why not?" She's like, "It's a bit wispy." That was the word she used, wispy.
Was it Nerf?
Yeah, it was the Nerf one there with the tape around the hilt there.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? And then another guy comes up and he like, let me see it, and he like smacks himself in the arm. He's like, here, it's fine, just don't hit anybody in the face. Wispy. Yeah.
But
So if anybody out there wants to go LARPing, just don't take a wispy sword.
See,
with
I'll
you.
bet you that was Adam. Adam was one of the ones that were in charge, setting stuff up.
What's the bald headed guy that sold
Adam,
sword?
I think his name was Adam as well. He's the one that played the bagpipes.
Yeah, he had like the little shed with the stuff you could buy. Like,
oh no, he was actually, I don't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Because I used to follow him on Instagram.
He
for a
was
while.
actually a
God, I still might.
quarter, I think, owner of that property that we LARPed on.
Because he has he does the conventions and he does the LARPing.
Oh yeah, he goes as Mr. Miracle to a lot of big conventions and stuff. Is it Mr. Miracle? I think. I remember he said a lot of people would always.
Barda's wife.
What? No.
Big Barda's husband, Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, because he said a lot of people would always confuse him and think that he was Vision.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, he was a big dude.
And his wife, she didn't LARP. I don't believe. I don't think so. But there's a lot of pictures of her. She would go as like Batwoman and stuff like that, and like they played the part beautifully. Like they were so good at it.
Yeah, Instagram used to show me their stuff all the time, but the algorithms go, things get buried.
Yeah, of course. Of course, right now we could just run to Walmart and pick up any old suit we wanted.
Yeah, we could. Well, I mean, it's
that would
season.
be the casual cosplayer.
I've only been to 2 Spirit of Halloweens and 1 Party City twice this year, so it's not like I live there or anything. I'm glad the season's here. And I'm also glad that you have all taken the time to listen to our takes on magic and sorcery and cosplay and the supernatural type things that are out there.
And listening to us just rant about pretty much literally nothing.
Yeah.
But we do want to hear from you. So let us know. treeofgeek.com. I plug it every chance I get. What can I say? Hit the contact.
You got to plant those trees, man.
Yeah.
Plant them.
Hit that contact us form. Let us know what you would go to Comic-Con as. And if you want to have some fun with it, you have 12 hours from the time that you decide that you're going to go. What is in your house? What would you be able to go to Comic-Con as? Also, what's your favorite part about this season? What's your favorite, magic take in the world of geekdom?
Yeah, anything we've talked about today or something we've missed?
Or anything we didn't talk about, and you just want to hear us talk about it, or you just want your name on I almost said radio, on the podcast, send us a message.
And listen, we do take these things into account. We talked about the people that send us emails.
Yep.
Somebody has requested that we do a One Piece episode. Yep. So we're going to be working on watching it currently. So we're going to be doing a One Piece / Pirates episode.
I did just finish it. I'm not going to give any spoilers to you, the listener, or to
No, spoiler free. You. Spoiler free. It's too new.
I will say it started rough for me. Again, I'm not an anime person. So the whole over the top Japanese style, they do portray that well.
But don't give away too much.
I'm not.
Save it for the episode.
I will. All I'm going to say is it started rough for me, but by the end of it,
I'd say it started silly for me.
Yeah, silly. That's a good way to put it. But I got through it.
Right. Yeah, I'm almost done. So we're gonna do the One Piece pirate episode, and then at some point I've heard that another friend of Josh here has requested a Conan the Barbarian episode. So we're going to have to do a little bit of diving into that one. I am very familiar with the movies, however, not too familiar with the books or comics.
If you are...
But I'm looking forward to doing that one.
If you are, reach out.
Sure.
We would love to have you as our point of contact for some knowledge picking, and who knows, maybe you'll come on. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
Can we have a guest this early?
We have a guest tomorrow if we wanted, or if they wanted.
I'm not coming over tomorrow to film. Record.
Yeah, good luck at the dentist, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's going to suck.
Yeah. But if there's any other type of geek, nerdy things, like, hey, man, you didn't check this branch over here. How about this one? Let us know. We have other holidays coming up. Maybe we can do some more holiday-themed things. If you want to hear more lists.
And if you think H-Train should read the Dresden Files, let us know, and he still won't.
And I will delete the email. Nah, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. I'm open to looking at a lot of different franchises and universes, but I just don't have a lot of time to read.
Audiobooks, telling you.
But how am I supposed to listen to this podcast if I'm listening to an audiobook in the truck? And how am I supposed to not listen to AC/DC?
You lived it. Lived the podcast.
Yeah, but I want to relive it again. Because sometimes I wake up in a different universe when things are different, and I'm like, I got to remind myself. It's like Quantum Leap in a way. Only I don't wake up as a woman.
This time. All right, and on that note, remember, treeofgeek.com.
Treeofgeek.com.
Contact us. If you love what we're doing and you want to hear some more from us, consider supporting us. There's a link through the website to help us out, help us grow. Monthly donation anywhere from $3 to $10. Believe me, we'll greatly appreciate it. It'll help us get better equipment. It'll help us get more time to make better episodes. And hopefully in the future, we can do like a Patreon style, if you're subscribed, extra bonus content. We're not totally sure what yet, but we'll get there.
That's why you say it, because you say it so eloquently.
Sure. So we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thanks for hanging out in the tree with us, folks. We'll swing over next week.
Take care, everybody.
I like turtles.